Okay, what is up, guys? Today we are going to be talking about voting systems. So, when it comes to voting systems, there are many ways to decide the fate of your country. So, first of all, we'll talk about the most easiest one. We have a monarchy, which is run by a king, and although that may seem very Middle Ages, countries like Saudi Arabia, a huge oil producer, is still under monarch rule. So kings and queens, they still exist. However, it's never really a total one-man rule. No single individual can run an entire country like a monarchy or a dictatorship. But the ruler has a small group to help them. This is called an oligarchy, which is controlled by a small elite. So by definition, a monarchy and a dictatorship is an oligarchy. And then you have the complete opposite, anarchy. Now, this is no government control, which would lead to a society of no law and order, and open up chaos, and then people would demand a dictatorship to bring back law and order in the first place. So see how they go in unison? Imperialism is where people steal other people's land, and outright globalism is where people try to control other people's countries in a more modern and sneaky way, like trade deals and unions. Democracy, the word may sound good, is where the people rule, and although that sounds nice, it's only beneficial if you're the majority. Let's say the majority decide to start rounding up blacks and homosexuals and start killing them, like in the US Civil War in the south, in the southern areas. Sure thing, it's majority rule. Of course, it's what the people want, but just because it's higher in numbers, it still does not mean it's right. As people can still be brainwashed very easily, people tend to just follow the majority in order to survive or in fear of democracy. So democracy, in a way, just leads to mob rule. Also, the majority always end up in a specific part of the country anyway, which means people from the lower populous areas don't get as represented. For example, in Brexit, Scotland, the entire half of the UK by size, voted to remain while England voted out. But because England was simply bigger in population due to geography and economy, it means the Scots will never have a say regardless. So the best system is in fact not a democracy, but a constitutional republic. That's what the USA has right now. Court and the rule of law instead of mob rule from a democracy. Now I notice a lot of US politicians drum up the word democracy, democracy. They're not in a democracy, they're in a constitutional republic. So anyways, let me change the visual here. So basically a constitutional republic is what I support anyway, and the rule of law instead of mob rule from a democracy, or single rule from an oligarchy. A constitutional republic which even holds their leaders accountable to illegal actions and tyranny can never really happen under the system. Having opposition and holding government as accountable as possible is the best system possible. It's the most patriotic thing to do to question your government. With mutual judges and a jury that decides the fate of things and not government officials, like in socialism. Of course, judges will have certain biases, but it isn't a singular system. As many courts as possible is a good thing. Now, within any country, there are always going to be industrialised areas and rural areas. And although rural areas are bigger in size, urban areas tend to have more people. So a pass-the-post system would not represent the entire country. Imagine the Easterners of Brazil always deciding who the government for the rest of Brazil is just because the main cities are there. That doesn't sound very fair. And Brazil is huge in size, and parts of it can even be an independent country within itself. In the UK, we do vote by constituencies or provinces. However, some provinces get more seats than others. London has about 4, while Banffshire only gets 1. So a London vote, if you live in London, your vote is 4 times more valuable than someone in Banff. What about Glasgow, just to keep things in Scotland? They have another 2 seats compared to someone in Banff. That would just make each province just get 1 seat, no matter the size or population, if you live in Banff. To keep things proportionate and fair from the point of villages and cities, and prevent us from being a country like China, where all the urbanisation is on the east, and all the desolate areas are in the west. Everyone in the country can't be ignored, just because of where they're from. And politicians tend to just focus on areas that have the more people. But I've just said to you why democracy is bad and a constitutional republic's better. But in Scotland, we have a second Hadrian's Wall, and a more dangerous one, but it's just moved upwards. You're either on the central belt, or if you're anywhere above it, expect to be ignored or not cared about. Also, in the UK, I want people to care who runs them, instead of voting for some MP who you feel very detached from the vote for you, and who you want to actually run the country, like in the USA. I think we should vote directly who we want to rule us, not people in provinces for certain constituencies, if you know what I mean. And instead of votes being counted by numbers, they're counted by provinces, meaning politicians have to make an effort to include the entire country. So yeah, that's just basically my opinion on how political systems should be run. Hope you enjoyed that video. Peace out.